Hello everyone, my name is Aneuo, and today I'm going to be doing a PvP tier list for the near end of season for the summer season. And we're just going to be going over the pretty high tiers because most of the lower tiers aren't really worth going over. And for the most part, for the D tier, I just put in a bunch of units that you really just don't want to play that often. Now, most certainly, I would say for the lower tiers, these characters can easily move up a tier depending on situation, and the same can be said for some of the A tier or like A or B tier units that depending on the situation, their use case is probably pretty high, and I think even Mort could even step into the S tier because of how usable he is right now with Setsuka. But for the most part, I just put them where they generally are, and once again, they can probably vary between tiers. Oh wait, this is my old list. Did this not save my new one? Oh, okay. These units go upwards. Alright, anyways. Yeah, for the most part, they're just varying between tiers. So let's just talk about the last tier. So all these units are pretty meta-defining. And I'll first talk about Nodos, because he's a pretty peculiar one. If you're playing turn 2 versus turn 2, Nodos is fairly easier to deal with, but if your opponent is trying to aggro or cleave you, for the most part cleave, if they use Nodos as a cleave anchor, it becomes extremely hard to fight as a turn 2 player, which is the reason why he sucks up a pre-ban spot for most players, and the reason why he is going to be in double S tier, because he is a force ban. Any characters that are in pre-bans usually are very overpowered, and this is the reason why they're in double S tier. Yulha is just a general cleanser. She enables stupidness with her increased speed, increased HP, fast cycling, healing, cleansing. She does a lot. It's perfect for, and this unit also just increases damage of HP scalers and just does a lot of stuff. Not to mention the S3 is a revive, so Yulha is a very strong unit indeed. Estelle is one of the strongest mitigation knights in the game. She is the strongest mitigation knight in the game, rocking 40% mitigation that's built into her passive, meaning there's no buffs to be dispelled compared to Arwell, which is why Arwell is a bit lower compared to Estelle. Not to mention that she's rocking very large barriers, injury damage, extra chip damage to help you finish off your enemy team, and a really good artifact that keeps her alive. Very annoying unit to deal with. Duelist does a lot of things, from having additional damage due to Venoms, provoke with the control, a dual attack on soul burn, as well as additional survivability with healing and a cleanse. The reflect damage is a cherry on top that helps deal with squishy units like Freerin, which makes it immensely hard for them to counterpick that against you. Very good unit, very annoying, and just does a lot. Alright, now the new hotness in the game. Rocking the new highest base speed. She does a little bit of everything, which is the reason, while being able to flaunt the highest base speed in the game, reason for her being in the double S tier. She does damage, she does debuffs, she heals herself, she controls you, and she is doing this all while being immensely fast, meaning she's taking more turns than usual while doing all these things together. She also flaunts 70 to 100% evasion based on her artifact, which makes her damn near unkillable unless you have some form of like high damage or pop damage to take her down, making her very strong and hard to fight against. Lady of the Scales is one of the best cleave tools in the game, cleave and aggro tools in the game, allowing you to play fast and aggressively with safety. Also flaunting abundance buff, which gives you additional pop damage for your entire team, which helps kill your enemy target. The immense amount of survivability Scales gives and the anti-aggro, anti-cleave that she provides makes her a very strong pick, while also being a very annoying unit to deal with when you're playing Cleave. Without a doubt, Ruel is the best soul weaver in the game, being really tanky, being able to protect herself and an ally after reviving and giving damage limit to herself. Just a very annoying unit to deal with, and probably completely resets the board if she ever gets her S3 off. Salome is as strong as the other units in this tier because, well, she is the other units in the tier. Being able to copy a unit and their entire kit while also being immensely fast at 290 speed makes her very scary. You can imagine her being a Ruel that's just 290 speed on a shorter cooldown, meaning you get to spam Ruel S3 much faster. Not only does she do that though, but she also has Collapse and Death Break on her S3 under a 10 soul burn for ignore ER while also having a dual attack, making her a very strong unit and a very annoying unit to deal with. Basaruka easily goes between, I think she should have been up here. I think I forgot to move her up. Although Basaruka is a little bit weaker than before, she is still as strong as you would expect her to be. Being able to prevent your enemy from targeting anything on your backline and only being able to target Basaruka makes her too much of a very good unit, and it makes her really hard to move away from the top tier spots. Because if they're playing priority DPS units that you need to get to in order to win the game, while Basaruka is there, you cannot get to them, which makes it very hard to deal with, and it makes certain units harder to play. For instance, maybe you have a 200 ER Basaruka and you're fighting RNO. RNO won't be able to get her debuff off, and she's only allowed to target Basaruka. So it makes things much harder for your opponent because they cannot target what they need to target in order to win the game. Fire Witch is a generalist cleave unit right now, but prevents revives and has a death break, so honestly very good cleave opener. Diane has seals in her kit, making her very strong against slow or turn 2 players, locking down their passive. Not only that, but she has a really huge CR push once the bird is activated, making a really good cleave bridge or aggro bridge, and has a 2-turn buff strip, which also makes her pretty good into low effectiveness targets. She is just very problematic and pretty much is an immense force span in 90% of situations. Zio is your primary cleave opener as of right now, being the fastest unit in the game, of course, because of the 30% CR push in his kit. He is very strong as of right now, but he's a very skill-gapped character. Not everyone can use him, but most certainly there's a lot of Zio clears on ladder, including KHM, that utilize him to his best of ability and can possibly win these matchups because you cannot challenge Zio in speed. Bellion is still evergreen with her passive completely locking down souls, making her a very primary pick unit, especially into a ton of these other characters in the top tiers because they need souls to function. Especially our newest character Ludwig that just needs souls, and being able to lock down these souls is very important and very something you need to use. Setsuka is going to be one of the best RGB DPS in the game, as well as RGB safety units in the game, because all you need to do is 30% your opponent and you get to win that match for free. Cigarette is one of the best aggro openers in the game because of the fear. You're able to lock down your opponent and just run over your opponent for fun, giving your team speed buff while pushing out your enemy team and fearing them, meaning they cannot act while they are completely stunned, which makes it very hard to deal with. Also, being able to duel or activate basic attacks with every single ally on your team makes it very hard to deal with their aggression that's incoming because you cannot counterattack it. Freyrin does not need any introduction. She's a very safe damage dealer that can only die to pop damage or if she completely runs out of souls, while also having very explosive damage to deal with any target she needs to fight. Now, everyone else here I'm not going to go too in-depth with because of the fact that there's way too many characters on this list to go over individually, but for the A tier, these units are basically units that are played fairly enough to be inside of the top bracket, but isn't played every single game. They're good in their situations, and they're probably the characters you're going to reach for more often than not if you need to pick another character. The B tier are picked a little bit less often than usual as of right now, but when they're a situation, you're probably going to pick them. And once again, as I spoke about earlier, anything below hand you're kind of rarely picking unless you need to pull out some type of counter pick as of right now. Anyways, that is it for my tier list. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.